Live. What's up, everybody? It's G Mr. Drew here to welcome you to another episode of the Andrew Glowczewski Experience. This is going to be episode 203. Man, I'm still not over the fact that we're over 200. That's pretty awesome. This one is just going to be a little change of pace. I wanted to. Um, I was working on that Water Samurai last week, and I wanted to kind of take another step with that piece. But in order to do so, I need to create a pattern. This pattern that you see in front of you. Um, I just took some pictures from online. A lot of you may recognize these patterns, and yeah, I'm just gonna recreate these in vector format, and in order to do that, it takes like a little bit of time, and then I figured it'd be cool to show that. Some people might be interested in how to create patterns, how to um, even get the colors right. To get specific colors to really truly get a color. Um, at least be like 99% accurate with the color. But either way, so yeah, let's do that. I grabbed a couple of these just to see, um, and as you can see, like these things pixelate when you zoom in. This is why I want to make them vector. But also, you'll see this one has like thicker lines than this one does, and that's something that I'll show you how we'll be able to play with on this episode. Hopefully, this doesn't take more than a couple hours. Um, so yeah, let's just get into it, dude. I cannot believe it. I got Maximilian dude playing his PS5 playthrough of Final Fantasy VII. I don't know how I missed this a couple weeks ago. He's already gone back a third time to play it. Like I watched the first um, video of the second playthrough, and he made the second video, and I don't know how I missed it. It was like 3 weeks ago. I was like, what? Because I saw that he uploaded the third video of the second playthrough, and I was like, wait, what about the second? Um, so yeah, I've been watching that, and this is when Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa are going in. They're gonna end up facing, uh, I forget what that big robot's name is, but basically where they get to plug and play with the parts. So so yeah, they're gonna be doing that, or I'm gonna have that playing in the background while I work on this. So enjoy. All right.
Walk slowly through that. What happens in Yuffie's DLC? They specifically tackle that, right? In
So what
Yuffie's
we want to
DLC,
do
they
is
like say,
find
oh,
the
so you're gonna go through
repeating,
this, but now we're gonna
where
give you
this
this way,
pattern
this way, or this
repeats.
way. You're gonna go through this, but
Basically,
now you can
this
go
is a lot to
through
look
these
at.
boxes and you can throw
It's
this that way.
repeating a lot in
Now when we
here.
set up this platform thing
So
where
we
you're
want
gonna
to
go around the
find where the
platforms and manipulate
repetition
buttons and do this
happens.
stuff, it's like, oh, wow, now like the painful level design, because it's still the same, the level design's still boring. But now the
And bring it to a
painful level
minimum.
design isn't nearly as painful,
So
right?
find a
It doesn't come
corner,
across as being so aggressively boring but pretty. And that's kind of like
like
that's
here
kind of where I
maybe.
hope part two moves forward because they chose to tackle that with her with Yuffie gameplay. And it's not a lot. It's arguably not a lot, but it's at least something, right? It's something better than just slowly walking or going through a crack, right? And with everybody else just slowly weaving through a crack. It's bearable, yeah. And that's all it needs to be. It just needs
And
to be
now since
bearable.
we're cutting through
Um,
this
so
dark
the next
diamond
thing,
shape right here,
probably, which is most likely
we'll
going to
go
be
to
very
the
open
next
worldy,
one.
when you're done with the open world part, what's going to happen when you get to like the crystal caves, chat? It's going to be very similar to this stuff, you know? It's going to be very much like a chapter, a
So that's where it
level-based
repeats
chapter,
from side to
where you're going to
side.
have to manage through
And now
a
we're
maze
cutting
of
through
crystal
this
caves,
green,
fight some new enemies, and,
these two green diamonds
take
like
down some
this.
stalactites or whatever. You're going to need a
And now
lot
we
of
have two more
interactivity
here.
in these
But
new
we want the
areas.
next set of
And
green ones
that'll
that
be
are
great, right?
right
As long
straight
as we
down from
get
here,
in every area some level of
which is all the
interactivity where you
way
have to do it
here.
or you
Holy
can do
crap.
it. That's all we really want, you know? Yeah, we hope it's open world, for sure. We hope it's open world.
So this is a tall pattern, huh?
You can imagine, like, when you get to Cosmo Canyon and you get to that thing under. Holy shit. Holy shit. LB Crucial with the friggin' visit. Oh my god, dude. $200 from LB Crucial. Sweet Jesus, thank you, man. I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety all my life. I never felt sane until I found the YouTube channel back in 2014, and the video games crew always put a smile on my face. This is just an appreciation for how you guys changed my life and shine on. God damn, Crucial, thank you, man. All that stuff you said was ridiculously nice too, man. And as somebody that's had to deal with, you know, anxiety happening for no reason, you know, throughout the last 10 plus years of my life, I very much appreciate you finding a bit of solace in the channel, dude.
I believe this is all of the repetition. So I could just take this chunk and then it'll repeat. Let's test that theory. Let's crop. I'll save this.
And there was also $100 from Judge Judicator to say, I love the 7 remake content. Watching the stream is extremely entertaining. Your passion makes me feel like I'm watching the game again for the first time. Part 2, let's go. Yeah, thanks, man. An insanely friggin' nice message again from Judicator. And Eldest Onion, thanks for the 777s. Chat, you're being too nice! Being too nice, chat! Are you the only one not wanting it to be open world? The original game had world map, but very linear at the end of the day.
Here it is.
Right. And by open world, think of it like that, right? Think of it between the areas that where it is open.
Drop it off here.
Yes, yeah, and Simmons describes it perfectly.
And now check this out.
Linear. You only have one way you can
Create a square, right? Apply a color to it. You don't have to apply a color. I'm just showing you. Just made a shape. I made a pattern of this crop. And we'll see if this is a good repeating point. Boom. Look at that. See how it's all seamless? See how it looks like a repeating pattern? Boom, man. That's perfect. And now...
Go fight the snake if you want to continue. You're going to have to go through the cave if you want to get to the other side. You're going to have... Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, how do I...
Final Fantasy 15. Chat, Final Fantasy 15's open world wasn't the problem with that game. In fact, the open world part of 15 was arguably the best part of the game by like a ton. But what was the problem with 15's open world? It was full of gas stations. That was it. It was a gas station in like one town. And the other town, when you finally get to it, locks out the open world.
Man, it's been so long since I've done this, I forgot how to not transform the pattern.
The issue with the wide linear aspect of FF15 is that they gave you a lot of cool stuff to do in this world, for the most part, but there was no really great locales because everything was just a friggin' gas station.
See how it's like transforming the pattern when I squash and stretch it? I don't want that.
And that was about it. And then there was one big town, right?
I forgot how to do that.
You have to correct me if I'm wrong.
It's been so long.
It was so much open world that it was like already kind of daunting. Or a diner. Yeah, a gas station or a diner. Or a hotel, you know? Yeah, Lestalin. Lestalin was the only town. And then you get to the Venice place, but that doesn't even really count. It's like a separate place completely.
I could always just reapply the color. That's one way to do it, but there's a way to unlock the pattern.
And then you get these dungeons, right? And then, yeah, the dungeons are...
I just forgot how to do that at the moment. It's been so long since I've done some vector work.
Like, the dungeon areas
I'm getting rusty.
Are really...
See, like I can squash and stretch it, see how it's shrinking, but then just reapply it.
Venice was very limited to Venice place.
But yeah, I don't want to do that.
Interesting. I like FF15 a lot.
But either way, it works. So I successfully isolated the repeating pattern. And now to get the colors,
Yeah, the RNA dungeon was the most interesting looking one, with like the glass liquid ceiling and all that stuff.
That's what I got this file for.
30, man, holy crap.
It's 3 lights worth, looks like.
But that's all of them, isn't it?
All or nothing.
Let's regroup here if you get lost. Remember the H1 sign.
Right. Let's see now. Closest light ought to be that one.
Oh wow, so this is all one color.
Something to increase.
Sweet. See, if you look at this CMYK and see how it's not changing, the numbers aren't moving around, that means this is already one big solid color. There's no pixelation and blend of pixels creating this color.
At least there is one thing about this level
Which is
that
good.
I do appreciate, and it's what Tifa just went over, right? Tifa's sort of covering the fact that, did we ever really realize that there was heat lamps that act as like fake suns in Shinra before? Like everything would have just been in shadow. I'm sorry, in Midgard before. Everything would have just been in shadow before. But now it's like, oh, this little bit of world building that kicks in that sort of fills in the idea that, oh yeah, like yeah, in order for people on the lower plates to actually survive, they would need sunlight of some kind, so they mimic sunlight. But now our characters are going through kind of like an ordeal that we're going to turn that shit off in order to fulfill the mission. Like we're going to
Wait, really? Why?
to do what is
This has never happened
by our
before.
character's definition, the right thing, you know? So that's cool. I mean, that to me is like an interesting. This level at least has world building. The second visit of the sewer chat, there's no goddamn world building at all. It's another friggin' terrible sewer. I will argue to the teeth that the worst level in the game is sewer number 2. To the teeth. Sewer 2 sucks. It's Leslie character building, right, to an extent. I do agree with you that there.
See, now let's try this. You see how I just roll around in this yellow square? And look at the CMYK over here. You'll see that the numbers kind of bounce around just a little bit. Not too much, but this is all in the yellow. You see how the CMYK is moving around? That means that there's different CMYKs blending together to create this yellow. We want to avoid that. Let's see these other colors. Same thing's happening here. Yeah, same thing's happening here. Same thing, yeah, so it's all over this side. It just wasn't on this side. But over here, all these colors aren't flat. So this is why I do this, is to create flat colors. And that's going to help us when we make the vector art.
And it was a revisit of the sewer that does different dynamic things.
So what I'll do is
Would it feel like padding?
I'll just crop
It wouldn't. You'd be okay.
the yellow area here.
Like if they do something interesting and captivating with it, then you'd be fine. It doesn't feel like padding anymore. But they don't. Like it just comes across as a boring ass sewer sequence.
Yeah, you see all these pixels here? So the reason why the CMYK is showing different numbers is because like this pixel right here is a different color from this pixel over here. That's why those numbers kind of jump around. And this is when we're like super zoomed in, you know, but if you look from way back here, you're like, oh no, this is one color. But it's a blend, an amalgamation of all of these pixels blending together. So to avoid this is why I always turn everything into one single pixel. What it does is it condenses all those pixels, takes all the CMYK values of all of them, and then finds the center of all the numerical values of every single pixel that's in this picture. That's why I crop it out, kind of simplify it, and then I'll turn it all into one color. Watch. Make it 1 by 1 pixel. 300 resolution.
They're even teasing certain elements like.
And now bring it back up to a 1-inch square. And now when I mouse over it, notice the CMYK isn't changing. It's because I compressed it all into one color and then I blew it back up. And now this is all one flat yellow color.
So what's
It looks exactly the same, right? Like you can barely see any sort of difference. You may even be wondering, like, why does that matter? I'll explain later on.
It's going to be, you know, roads with cars and stuff, and it's going to be getting chocobos and things. But what's the whole point of travel? To get from one area to another area quickly, right? Or faster than on foot. So how are you going to do that? There needs to be a lot of area and a lot of places to go to. There's not to be things.
You're gonna do the same thing with this darker,
like chocobos and
darker
stuff like
yellow
that.
here.
Like Final Fantasy 15. There's have to be shit in between that'll make that interesting.
And same thing, you know, you can see these pixels are all different colors. Like this set, compared to over here, you know, they're all over the place. So what I want to do is condense them.
So yeah, I think the next part of
So this is all just one pixel. It's a single pixel. This is everything that digital art is comprised of, especially raster art or print art.
big areas. You're not gonna, are you going to be
It's all
able
compressed.
to climb your Skyrim horse
Blow it back up.
the mountain range and completely avoid the crystal caves? Hell no. Why would they do that?
And now now there's 72 by 72 pixels, and they're all the same exact color. I mouse over it, and you'll see the CMYK value is not bouncing around. This is all one color.
But I think they're also going to make that sort of. I think they're going to make even the snake like a thing you have to do this time instead of avoiding the snake. I think they're gonna make that a big boss fight.
Do it with the green colors as well. I'll just hurry through with the green colors. I think I got the point across, right? Interesting stuff, maybe. If you're into, you know, if you ever use the eyedropper tool, like this is something that you may want to be aware of.
The snake is 100% going to be a big super boss. Tank Ceratops is going to be a super boss. What else is a really interesting enemy post Midgar? The snake will have its own chapter for 100%. They can make a really cool, yin and yang. Yeah, 100%. I love it. I love it. The dudes at the bottom of Nibelheim, inside the Shinra mansion, yin and yang. They'll make those guys, those tiny monsters, a super boss. Boss number is, well, he's already a boss, right?
Deal with that.
Yeah. Let's see you. I gotta change that macro. Shooting at us.
Oh, did I already get this green? I should be going for the dark green.
You're killed for shower.
Yeah, I probably should be going for the dark green, right?
After you literally killing Fate.
Whoops.
Yeah, but the characters when you're killing Fate is like almost like a separate sort of like dreamlike world, right? Like the fight with Sephiroth, like all those elements don't really take place in and like I guess like the character's reality, like that singularity doesn't really happen. It's like in a separate state, like where they're like Advent children levels of powerful. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's also a suspension of disbelief kind of thing, but at the same time, it's like, well, why would rats be able to kill you later on, you know? But it feels like, yeah, it's supposed to be like an ambiguous.
Alright, so we got dark green, light green, red, yellow, dark yellow. Cool. I believe those are the only colors we need, right? 2 greens, 2 yellows, 1 red.
I'm going backwards, Chad.
Sweet. So I got my colors. This is the reason why I make them 1 inches, is just so that they're a convenient, you know, even though they're just an enlarged single pixel, you know, it's convenient to eyedrop, you know, squares this size than it is like a small pixel.
Your guys' conversation, but I'm also attempting to get over there.
go. Got our colors. So we got our pattern. Now we got our colors.
Okay.
Now this is why I wanted to make the pattern. I have the swatch over here. I don't necessarily need that. I just wanted to make sure, that's how you test it, to make sure that this is the proper pattern. Now I'm actually gonna go in there and create it and recreate it digitally. So as you can see, the main shape here is a hexagon, and it's a pretty equal size hexagon. So I'm guessing that these are 30-degree angles.
What is or what isn't a part of the original 7?
That these are 30-degree angles, or 150 degrees on the acute and obtuse ends.
A lot of the stuff that they
So if I have a
original and expand upon
straight line,
is really good. Like, it's really good.
so I use the line tool
Almost better than the
and
original in many
apply
ways.
an outline
Some
to
stuff
it so
is
that
really
way
good.
I can
Doesn't
see
feel
it.
as good. It's not like every single aspect of it, but
So there, I just made a blue
they
line.
do a very good job.
Probably better to make it up vertical, since we actually have vertical lines in this pattern. We don't have any horizontal lines. To test my 30-degree angle, 150-degree angle theory, well, let's just try it out. So rotate it at 30 degrees,
That's the big theory, Chad.
make a copy,
Classy Chris
and
Audio is saying, "Hope we don't control Sephiroth in the flashback, and he just murders everything while we deal crap damage." Right.
150,
Sephiroth in the
nope,
flashback is the
make a
greatest,
copy of it. Hold on.
Like, it gave me more affirmation,
And
or sort of thought that part 2.
or these are
is
60-degree
going to be a big
angles.
open world journey kind of thing, because what did
Yeah,
they
because
choose
these
to do,
angles look
Chad?
wrong, so they're not 30, they're
They
60.
chose to ignore
I was thinking about 180 degrees, not 360 degrees. As
Midgar
I'm an idiot.
to Calm.
Don't listen to me.
They chose to show that in cutscene at the end of this game, at the end of Yuffie's DLC.
There we go. See, and that
So
looks
you-
more
they skipped
right.
that
So it'd be
aspect
360 and then also a
To me, it's like,
300-degree
Oh
angle.
my god, they're really gonna open up part 2 with the flashback.
Yeah,
That's
these
what
look
they're
right.
gonna do. They're gonna start that shit with a flashback. And that's perfect because you can use the flashback as a tutorial for Cloud to teach the player stuff.
Oh wow, I
to
made that
basically
line
be
like the perfect
what
length.
to do. But
Holy shit.
you're also going to be able to have Sephiroth be like possibly a non-controllable party member. And Sephiroth might work like Sonnen, right? He very much he might work like Sonnen does, where you can give him commands and stuff like that, but you can't control Sephiroth, right? You're not allowed to control him because that would ruin immersion, right? You can't control Sephiroth. You can't run around with that guy. That's not allowed. Just like in the original game, he does stuff and he'll work with you on certain things, but that's the way it sort of works.
So I take my angles
That mechanic is going to be very much present in the next game.
and align them, and as you can see, they line up pretty damn perfect right there. And you can see here that it's all connected. Now I also need some downward angles. So if I rotate these 180 degrees, at a copy, I should get my downward angle.
Chat, we predicted, I mean, for anyone that was watching, back in 2015 when the game was first announced, and we played through classic FF7 again, and we were trying to figure out, so how many parts is the remake going to be? When they told us it was going to be split up into chapters or big segments like episodes. We're like, so how many episodes / big chapters is the whole series going to be? How many remakes are they going to make? I'm like, they're probably going to make 3. The first game is going to be strictly Midgar. This was back in 2015. First game is strictly Midgar, and the second game is going to be like open worldy and begin probably with the flashback in Hum. And then the next game is either going to end after a character's passing or beyond the Northern Crater sequence. you know, where everything is looking the most dour for the characters ever. The world is in peril. Sephiroth is clearly winning, and there is like no hope in sight. To me, that's like the best place to the Empire Strikes Back ending for
Come
the
on.
next game.
This is,
That's the
if you guys remember, anyone who watched my older ones when I've done some digital work, this is why I hate doing digital on stream. This laptop has a wonky
This is spoilers, chat.
modifier keys, and yeah, they kind of get in the way.
Party's been disbanded. A bunch of crazy kaijus are walking the planet, and they're trying to stop the planet from dying, killing everybody.
Hold on.
And Tifa and Barrett are being held custody, and they're going to be executed on live TV. Oh, and also, there's a giant meteor hurtling towards Earth, and everybody's going to die.
There we go.
Yeah. Wait for part 3.
So that's kind of our
But there's a little
something like a hexagon pattern right there.
But there's a little bit of
It might be a little too big. See how it's a little bit off down here? Like it's a little tall. Like this is kind of centered. This is slightly off. And then this is like almost obviously off. And you can see even it kind of pokes out of the side here a bit. So I'm going to shrink all of this just a little bit.
But it all depends on how much content they can fit into part 2. You know, I think it really depends on how much part 2 they'll actually be able to make.
There we go. So group it all together.
Yeah, it really depends on
And then
the story. It really depends on if it lines up with what they're going for.
there we go. So that way this should be better. Yeah, see, now we're looking good. So this is the size hexagon that we want at the very least, and then just it's gonna be the insides of the hexagons that kind of change and shift a little bit. So
But I think thematically,
let's group this together,
a trilogy makes a lot of sense because a trilogy can follow.
and what color do I want to make? Is pink gonna stand out a little bit more?
Oh shit!
That's a little bit much. There we go. So this is a good size outline, so that way we can all kind of see what we're working on here. Even to get these lines, I could just pull from I don't know if I want to get those just yet. I may do that a little bit later. I wonder if I should get them now. I should probably get them now, and then so if I go select this diamond shape here,
It's me like
so
3 parts.
select those segments, paste in front, group
Like
those,
they
isolate
already said
that.
what? They already said that
Now connect
they don't
these.
want to cut like a lot of content. That's like the whole point of making it multi-parted, right? So that's the challenge is that they're also going to be adding stuff similar to the way this game added a lot of stuff. So with part 2 and beyond,
Ah, okay.
that's a lot of content, man. Those are a lot of fucking towns. Like,
Cool, so now we got our diamond shape as a single shape there.
even if you only go to the Forgotten City, how many places do we go outside of the open world? Does not even consider
And now this helps me.
to be location based.
Reset bounding box.
You got Calm,
This will help me make these shapes here.
you got I'm gonna blow this up with one hand. You got Crystal Caves. You got Fort Condor.
Oh, you know what?
Union
What if I
Harbor.
go this way instead?
Costa del Sol.
Stop this one here, and
What's
then
Barrett's Town?
take this
Sorry, what's Barrett's Town?
front.
Corel. Yeah, you got Corel. And the journey up Corel Mountain. You got Golden Saucer. You got Gongaga. You got.
And then we have that one there. So we got our 2 diamond shapes.
What's Red 13's town? Duh, I'm blanking right here, Chad.
Cosmo
Sorry,
Canyon?
really
For real?
close.
I forgot that.
Cosmo Canyon. You
Come
got
on, son.
Nibelheim. You got we're up to 12 places now. Nibelheim as well as the reactor behind Nibelheim. So let's just count that as 2. You got Rocket Town. And then from Rocket Town, you have a potential visit to Wutai, if you want to go to Wutai. And beyond that, it's a revisit of a couple
Oh, you know
of
what?
areas, but
I'll
you
just
also
have to
got
use
Temple
it.
of the Ancients, so that's 15 things.
Like this.
Temple of the Ancients, and after Temple of the Ancients is the Forgotten City, if not that Bone Town, whatever that Bone Village. So what?
There we go.
like,
So we got that.
If we're just talking about just those areas, that is 17 unique areas for them to make if they stop.
Seriously? You don't want to snap in?
Excavation site Bone Town / Temple of the Ancients.
Come on. There we go.
Holy shit.
It's not perfect,
We're
but
not even talking about that
pretty
being
damn-
chapter-based, right? That's like
pretty damn perfect.
that's a lot of places, you know?
I may want to keep the big original diamond that I had, so if I do that, I'll copy these 2 and then undo it to the point where it was still there, paste in front. Now I have the 3 diamond shapes here.
What's it called? Costa del Sol is like the size of a gas
Group
station
those
in a hotel.
together.
That's practically what it is with a beach.
Cut 'em
you
out.
know? So they don't have to be huge, but they have to be.
And boom.
Right? If they're
Now
not
those are there.
then people will be pissed.
So those are its own
many of those
group.
locations can be cut. I don't agree, man.
And
I think if they have to stay. I think the
so we have that
developer
shape.
specifically said that a lot of those
And
places need to remain. I think most of the journey the characters go through is probably going to be in the final game or the final game.
I mean,
Sorry.
here's kind of like the overall shape. So we kind of want to keep this one all loose and broken up, meaning like all these are their own individual line segments.
They already admitted that they don't want to cut
We want to
places.
keep that, but we also want to solidify some of it. So we do that with copies.
So,
For instance, I can
and a lot of those locations contain
delete
pretty big
these,
story stuff relevant to what's going on.
and then connect all the corners here.
17 unique areas, right? Okay. So 17 really big unique areas, but how many
This
of
is
those
fun
unique
stuff,
areas
right?
are actually really big areas with a lot of place to
There we go.
You know? Costa
So now
del
this is
Sol
all one shape.
is not that big, like Crystal
You can tell
Cave's
because
not
it's
that
a
big,
single
These
path.
places are just like you
Just
come,
like
you go and
the
say
diamond
hi,
shapes
kinda
here,
leave.
they're all
There's
just
not a
3
lot of them
separate
that are that
paths.
nuts. But let's break it down. How many of them are nuts?
But then if you look at the one over here, it's all line segments.
There's going to be a lot of stuff to do there. After that, Golden Saucer. Golden Saucer is a big ass place. Probably the biggest place in all of Part 2, arguably. That's a big, big place. You would say, you might say.
So let
Cosmo
me do
Canyon.
this.
And I think Cosmo's like mid-level, right? There's like a lot of places and people
Keep
that talk
this
about
copy
Cosmo,
here.
but it's pretty much one dungeon and that's it, you know? So it doesn't have to be crazy. Union Harbor could be like, Cosmo Canyon could be like an hour long, and you're good.
Keep this one here.
However, Nibelheim.
Now let's make a copy of
that's
that.
a big place. Like Nibelheim and the reactor of Nibelheim. Okay, a lot
And
of
now
this
I
place
can
is
just
gonna
throw this
take a
hexagon
little bit of time. Rocketown does
in
have to be big,
all the
'cause it
spots.
essentially has to be just like you're just passing by.
In all the
Yeah, Shinra
spots.
Mansion is included in that chat. But City of
Oh,
the
wait.
Ancients, I'm sorry, Temple of the
Want
Ancients,
a
that's a
copy
big
of
place.
it.
Definitely a
Always
big
make
place.
copies.
Big
Keep your
dungeony,
copies.
Lots of different stuff that sort of happens. Definitely
And
a big place.
always
And then
save.
City of the Ancients, also a big place.
Where's
So
my
there's like
temporary art file? Here we
5
go.
or 6 actual big locations that they really are going to have to put in like, we got to make big towns, right? We got to do all this. So Wutai as well. Sorry, yeah, Wutai is also a big place. A lot of different stuff. I forget that Wutai was like at any point in the game kind of place you can go there and do stuff, but Wutai is first accessible after Rocket Town, so that's when people
So
usually
you
do
see,
it.
we got,
Um,
well, yeah,
so,
lock that.
Wutai definitely ain't going to be optional anymore. That's going to be part of the game, right?
Reset bounding box.
But Here's the funny thing, Chad. Most of these locations and the work required for them is art. Most of this stuff is art. Guess which thing usually takes the least amount of time when it actually boils down to game development? Guess what is the thing that actually doesn't take a whole bunch of time when it comes to actual video game development? It's art. The art side of things tends to go pretty smoothly, you know? The thing that takes a shit ton of time is design. Figuring out what the hell our players are going to be playing, how our players are going to be playing this game, how people are going to be doing this stuff, like making the systems that the engine.
This is simple, just alignment tool stuff to make sure.
Art takes ages. I'm not saying you can get art done fast. I didn't say that.
Jesus
But
Christ,
in
my modifier
comparison to
keys
those
are
things,
going
in
nuts.
comparison to the other side of the game development,
There we go.
which is getting the systems to work
All
for
right.
Unreal to do the things they needed to do to have things operate.
So now we have like this
the art
going.
side can go a bit faster than those things. So when you have a game of this size, when you have a game that has so many different studios involved, the art side can be produced.
I
not
could even
just from, like, an
group
internal
these
department.
together.
They can outsource the shit out of art stuff, which they did for this game. You can get a lot of people working on art at one time with a certain amount of coordination, but if shit breaks,
There we go.
that is like
So now we
down
have
to
that
engine stuff and design
happening.
stuff where it's like, shit, our summon system just broke the whole fucking game and we have to delay it by 3 months. Obviously what happened, something weird happened to this game to delay it a month. That something broke and we have to literally tone down the graphics so that it even works. You don't have, yeah, when shit breaks, you don't even have a game. That's something that a lot of people don't. People just think of games nowadays and they're like, oh, a cool idea for a game, that thing should just be in the game, cool idea. A lot of people don't realize that people have to make that shit function. You have to make that shit function in the design document that was crafted. So once you have that shit done, once that thing has been figured out, and you're just sort of expanding and adding new things on top of it, which still can
Isolate.
cause a shit ton of problems. But once your foundation
Give me
is
my
there,
isolation.
a huge amount of work is done. Like a giant
Okay.
headache is done of the core game. So when it really
Oh,
comes
that's why
down
I
to,
wasn't
okay,
giving
so
me
you gotta
isolation.
figure
They're
out
two
towns,
separate
how
groups.
interactive the towns have to be, how interactive all these elements have to take. If we have our foundation and we know what our gameplay loop is,
You know
and
what?
we know
I'll
what our
drag these
characters
down
gonna play
here.
like, and we have those systems figured out from the first game, how hard is it going to be going forward? And to me, they
And see, I'm not
fixed a
too
lot of
worried
these
about
problems
getting
in
all
part
these
one, and guess
diamond
what
shapes in
game
here
we
because
see?
they already exist
Just
here.
recently, we
Like if
just
I take
played a
this
game
one.
a couple of weeks ago that shows that they already realized a lot of the issues they had with this game, and they specifically try to solve some of those issues in just a DLC.
So
and it
like
was
here's a
Yuffie.
blank
A
one.
lot of shit Yuffie
And then what
and
was the
her
angle?
missions
60
present
degrees.
tackle the problems that this game
Boom.
kind of has with some of its combat. With
Hit
its
OK.
utilization of other
Rotate another
characters in
60
combat,
degrees as a copy.
with like level design and making that bit a bit more accessible, if not fun.
So now we have all.
They already tackled
Again,
those
it's all
problems. Leaves me
mathematics.
pretty confident that. I don't know, man. I don't think.
So now we have all the individual shapes. We got the dissected diamond shape here, the full-on hexagon shape here. We got everything we need to make this pattern happen.
As working at EA, once that initial design document is done, you can't add more. It's too much work with limited budget before going into alpha. You can only remove parts.
And now we're just constructing the hexagon patterns here to fill up the entire repeating shape. Some of it's going to come out of the ends, but we're going to fix that as well later on, step by step. And don't forget, we also have the colors.
Art and shit, and it's like beautifully polished. I'm like, motherfucker, this is not an alpha. They're essentially calling it alpha.
I probably
for the
don't even
sake
need
of
this anymore, do I?
marketing.
I could
An
delete
actual
these.
alpha is like grayscale boxed characters with no lighting and barely any art assets trying to engage with each other. Like, that's what an alpha is. Like, yeah, it's more like a vertical slice. Yes, it's a demo. It's a vertical slice that they sort of crafted out of the core game because they're so far in development.
There we go, move this
And
over a bit.
in that part where it's just like abstract art is fighting each other with some sparks and shit, that's like an alpha state of them figuring out how the game is going to function. Like, how do we even make the team mechanic work in this game, you know? Little to no VO. No, voice acting is one of the last things that's added. That's one of the very last things that's put into the game. So, until you actually see like game development happen from like a very early standpoint and understand how long it takes to get from those early standpoints to the point where there even is artwork being integrated into the game, is quite long. That's where shit takes the longest. That's where like most of game development goes. And then it's like, oh, the art side.
So now I just need to get these top two pieces up here, which I can get probably just with
That conceptual phase lasts so long in game development, especially
just
for
doing
big-ass
this.
projects like this. Projects they know they can't fuck up on, right? Or like, oh, this game's important. Shit.
There we
This
go.
game's real important.
Right, right. No,
Yeah, exactly.
probably
That's a
don't
great
need
point.
this.
You cannot market the game
Probably don't
development.
need
right?
that.
You can't market game development.
I
but you
don't need
market a game.
those.
So you miss out on a lot of the stuff that went into the fabrication process of even making this shit work. Like even making the team part of this game with like the combat mechanics be as smooth and functional as it is. And then you gotta remind yourself, Square rebooted this project halfway through. So they had about 2.5 years to take whatever the hell CyberConnect had and make an actual functional game out of it, because whatever CyberConnect was working on
There we
was
go.
not good enough for
Keep it all on the artboard,
It
right?
was not up to the standards that they wanted to set for the series.
Get all these hexagons, group them together. So that way they just make one
So they
shape.
rebooted the whole fucking project.
So you can see what I made without all the distracting colors and stuff. Like that's basically the repeating pattern will fit within
Yeah,
there.
they reused animations, they did. But I guarantee you, chat, just reused animations and some assets that CyberConnect had made wasn't the
Now,
hard part. I'm gonna go out on a limb and probably say the issue that CyberConnect had was not visuals. It was probably gameplay. It was probably the functionality of how characters felt, how combat felt, how the engine was handling this stuff. That shit might have been amazing looking in screenshots,
you know
but
what?
that bitch
Yeah,
might have run
I
at
already
10
got all the
frames per
pieces I
second,
need.
and they never could figure out how to make it run any better.
So
That's
this is
probably what was happening.
already grouped.
And
That's
Square's
grouped.
like, this is not okay.
These are
Like, sparks started
separate.
hitting the screen and the game drops to 20 FPS. What is going on? And they
Okay,
never could
cool.
get that fixed. Downstairs. I can go take a look at it. I can try to unplug it. Okay. But yeah, you have to do that. You want to try to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the modem is the white box. The light. So you can try just unplugging the power from it, and then wait 10 seconds, plug it back in, and give it back in 2
Now,
minutes.
here's the magic. All that hard work
It just started working.
just
It's Spectrum.
so I can
Tuesday.
do this.
It's Spectrum. Sorry, Chad. Oh, thank you, man. They have a history of that happening with the Storm games. That most likely was probably like the reason Square Enix took it over, was there were some pretty big technical issues with the game that was just not. They never got past it. And 2 years after development, if there's some weird shit going on, Square's like, all right, we're backing out. Because the one thing Square has is some programming genius. They have some people in-house that got this game to work on a base PS4 at 1080p at almost a locked 30 FPS. It looks fucking ridiculous.
Alright, here's gonna be a better way to do
insane
this.
How good this game
Hopefully
looks
my
on a
snap the
base
points is
PS4.
on.
So they really had some
Yeah.
crazy assistance from
And
their
then
internal devs.
boom.
Making Unreal Engine 4 really shine.
Boom.
Like, that shit is not to be taken for granted, man. That's the kind of stuff in game development that you just assume, oh, they'll just figure out how to make the frame rate good. They'll just figure
There
it
we
out.
go. Trying to make life hard on myself for some reason. There
Frame
we
rate doesn't
go.
get better just by throwing more horsepower at things. It really doesn't. I'm going the wrong way. But,
Okay. So that's gonna be it for those. Save, yes. Now we can get this
I'm
shape.
looking forward to these coming back, that's for sure.
Just
Yeah,
jump
it'd be
in.
interesting to watch that 2015 trailer again. Yeah, and it's super framey, dude. It looks rough.
Same thing. Let's go
The
in.
PS4
Pray that
base
my
PS4
snap to
actually
points
had a
is on.
really stable frame rate. Wait, I need to look on that. It's over there. No. It did, yeah. It was 30 most of the time. If it's 30 99% of the time, that's 30, dude. And that's really good. Base PS4 was 930. Okay, so it wasn't 10. Gotcha.
There we go. Boom.
How far do you think development they are now? Well, they've told us. In an interview, they said back in October of 2019 that they had already begun development of Part 2. So, Part 2 has been in development for a little over, well, getting closer to 2 years-ish now. Probably. Yeah, I think they didn't just start in October, but yeah, October 2019 was when they specifically publicly said we're already working on Part 2.
You can see this angle, that angle.
No, Chad, you're not getting anything at TGS. Trust me, you're not getting any. You're not getting any look at that game for at least another year. That's
Okay.
the very
Now we got to get all the
the
dissected
very
diamonds.
earliest you'll get any
Trip
look
diamonds.
at anything 7 Remake Part 2 is like a teaser, possibly at E3 next year. And then it won't come out for nearly a year after that. The very, very earliest you guys will be playing a sequel, and this is insanely optimistic. I am being crazy optimistic with this shit. The most optimistic scenario is that you will be playing this game between April to June of 2023. And that's super optimistic. Like, best case scenario. Most likely, Part 2 will come out after 2023 and beyond.
Wait, let me get this right. I guess it really doesn't matter. I could just do it the same way. Boom, boom. Same thing here. Just select and align. Same thing here. Actually,
Wreck this thing all by her lonesome.
boom, boom. All right. And now we need the
Oh god, this thing is over there. What
reverse
the hell am I doing?
this.
Jared, it's all to you.
Or no. Is it F? Yes, F. Make a copy. And there we go.
We're getting a summon. Dang, dude is really weak to that.
Okay, Big should be waiting for us up ahead.
He's probably.
It might actually be. Chat, hang on a sec, chat. I'm gonna go check on the internet downstairs. FF16 into 7 remake. That's my assumption. Yeah, my assumption is that you're gonna FF16 will have been
Boom.
out for some months already, where that game will have been essentially in the release window, and you'll have played FF16, and some months after that would probably be a teaser for 7 remake part 2. That's my.
All right, I think that's
Give me a sec, chat. I'm gonna try to fix the
everything
internet.
except for you.
You know what I mean?
Crap. I didn't get you. Should have got you first. Would have made my life a little easier. There we go. So those are our pieces down there, and this is all in one group over here. Now, the one thing I'm wondering is if Giyu's pattern is actually has those black outlines or not. Like if we actually look up the, I don't know, cover art or something. Like not fan art, but the actual like artist, the creators' illustrations of them, or even I guess the anime is also pretty good source. Yeah, like those lines are so thin, they're almost non-existent, but they're there. Yeah, like even on the toy, you still have like a really thin line, so the outlines aren't so thick. So I could be pretty thin with these lines. All right. So I'll probably just make them black through and through, and drop them. Like even that's pretty thick, huh? So yeah, go even smaller. I like that. There we go. All right. So now if I take this copy, put it back, lock that, and now it just becomes this simple of light yellow and this is the light green. Oh no. Light green. Oh, and you know what I could do is just turn this color into a swatch here. So like green, and like this color is gonna be the dark green. So now I could take this dark green, turn it into a swatch. I can get this red, turn it into a swatch. And light yellow. Actually, let me do this one first, so that way I know I'm actually coloring it in. Light yellow, and then you get the dark yellow. Turn you into a swatch. And get the light yellow, turn you into a swatch. Now I don't even have to eyedrop anymore. And because I know that these are all one color because of the pixel thing that I did in Photoshop, it's I could trust these. You know what I'm saying? So now this just becomes like select and apply.
Alright. I fixed it though. And I just reset the router because when Spectrum goes down, like IP information or some weird stuff changes and suddenly your router's like, duh, and it has to be restarted. And it doesn't auto IP. I don't know what the hell's going on. Sorry.
Even after all that fighting, no one's coming for us?
No, Spectrum does not provide my fiber. It does not. My fiber line is different.
Too late to bail now. It's like walking a tightrope. When you're on, only two ways on.
Better keep my balance.
Yo, Blackbro, thanks for the $10, dude.
There we go.
Your knowledge of game DLC is very impressive. I've had the interesting opportunity to be around a lot of developers. I've worked on a couple of games, so yeah. And I find it genuinely.
Here, let me just do this. These I could apply. The green to it.
It's nothing. Just thinking about the next step. Didn't think I'd be this nervous.
Some things you never get used to.
Yeah.
Ever been interested in making my own game? I went to college for it back in the mid 2000s when there was very little game
None of these need
development,
an outline
sort of
and everything.
design schools. I went to an art institute. I went to a Santa Monica Art Institute, and I took some game dev classes, right? Learned Maya,
Ah,
3ds
shit.
Max,
How did I do select the
all that shit.
same
It's like
fill color?
2006, 2005.
It's the 2 and the F.
So
No. There we
there
go.
wasn't a lot of. It was mostly like design.
So you can see all these are just the fill colors. There are no outlines. It's because I have the outlines on a separate
Topside's
layer.
going nuts after some terrorists jumped off a train. Nice and quiet here, though. So quiet I had no trouble securing your route into the reactor.
You magnificent son of a bitch. Bring it in.
So, chat, the funny thing about this whole sequence is
There
that
we
in
go.
the previous Final Fantasy VII, this is how they
So there's our repeating pattern.
add character to a lot of these moments.
Except this. These should probably be the dark green, right?
An industry job.
There we go.
Of you going through like the train,
Alright. I'm sure there's probably a faster way of doing all this.
up the ladders, going
I'm just
through,
an idiot.
turning off the lamps and doing all that stuff. In the original game was less than 15 screens, you know? It was so little. It probably took about 5 minutes to actually get through, and it had almost zero building. Yeah, you have to think of all the tunnel screens as well, right? And then the big, like the caverns and stuff like that. It was like a 5 to 10 minute section, and it's just over. And with some extended only by enemy encounters, you know.
There we go.
You know what? I think I went. I don't know if it was AI. I think AI was the thing I was trying to get into. This is like 15 years ago, chat. So you have to. I think it was the Santa Monica Art Academy. Obviously, I entered for. Right? Because drawing was the big thing, not digital drawing. Classes. 4, so I had to I literally have my design, what's it called, portfolio somewhere in this fucking house that I got accepted through. Yes.
Make sure we're good here. We are.
For an undergrad, my job required me to have a BA.
Alright, so now
But
I
I
could
didn't
take
have it.
this, unlock.
Got me an
Oh yeah,
interview,
so before I
and
do this,
destroyed the
so you can
interview.
see
fucking
I have
killed it.
like just the outlines, those thin lines on a separate layer.
It was for a game that
And this square is going to be our clipping.
required a bit of like online gaming experience and virtual world experience.
Boom. Now it should match
I understand
our
exactly
original
what's going on.
source. So this was a JPEG, which is raster.
Got me that job.
And this is all I did. Everything that I just did was, you see all this pixelation that's happening from the reference.
And that shit was at its peak. So
All I did was make it so that we have zero pixelation. It's smooth no matter what. And that's what we want. This is what separates people who know what they're doing and how to create a quality product from those who are just trying to slap something together, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And I just took you through the steps of how to do that, man. Get the colors right, get the shapes and the patterns, and just understanding the mathematics behind simple basic shapes like hexagons and these diamonds and stuff like that. And then but yeah, I don't think we're done just yet, just because we have the clipping, and if I took this clipping, much like the raster pattern that we have here, when I apply it and it has all the pixels, I don't think we're done just yet. Let me double check. So if I take this,
yeah, it was. I went out of college for all that stuff. Then went from an animation / illustration background into having a lot of expertise at how did I handle the pool closures? That's not me. That is all mods. Moderator team. There's a moderator team of about like 10
there we go.
at any
So
given
if I
time
take
working
this,
around the clock.
drop it in, you see how the pattern has like a lot of space around it as opposed to the one here? It's because it's reading all of the negatives space outside here. Or, all the stuff that's clipped out, it's still reading it as a part of the pattern. So if I went and made a shape and then applied my new non-pixelated pattern, you're going to see it's spaced out because it's reading everything that got clipped out. So even though we have no pixelation happening, it's still has space, which means we're not done yet. So how do we fix this?
So, where are the others?
Jesse got hurt and couldn't make it.
Bad?
Not so bad she couldn't rope in this guy.
Thanks for stepping up.
It's a job.
Well, for
Sounds
this,
pretty good. You picking that train you did.
we
I'll
can
sure to scour Sector 4. You
crop
I'll
merge,
try on
so that way
Sector 5.
if I turn off the outline,
Gonna get you where you need to go.
we see now even we got all the fill color out, which is the easy part,
And you'll be needing your grappling guns, of course. All set?
but we still have the outline layer that's poking out.
Make sure everyone gets clear, okay?
Those we could do one of two ways. There's the easy way, which I might just do it if I want to keep these lines this thin. Like, I'm okay with them this thin. They're even still a little thick for my liking here, but I could always thin it up later. This is why I keep my layers, because what I'm about to do, I'm about to lose the stroke value and just turn it into a fill, where here I still have the stroke value. So I could always make the lines thinner and then redo this step with the thinner lines if I really hate them that much. But because the time that it's going to take to actually delete all this stuff is a little more than I want to spend right now.
Like way later, like
I would actually have to go in and delete all the points that are on the outside. Like, these shapes would be easy. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do it the right way, right? I'll show you what I'm about to do. What I was gonna do was this. You see how it's a stroke and then not a fill on the outlines here? I was just going to expand them, turn them into a fill so they're not a stroke, they're a fill now, and then just do exactly what I did with the fill colors the first time. Just crop them and then merge them. And then I can pull that out because I don't need any of this negative space stuff. And then that way,
so sick.
it's still there,
So sick.
and those are still there. And then I could take this, drop it in there, and see how the pattern here is now big like this one was. It's all that. So now I can make my shape, fill it in with the pattern I just made, and we should be good. Like that works. That's one way to do it. But this is no longer a stroke. It's the outlines are no longer a stroke that can be controlled, like as far as like stroke weight. So so this makes it just like a A- product rather than an A+ product. This is like if you're trying to skip steps, or you just want to do something fast, you could do it that way. But if you want to do something right and always maintain full like, I can keep this, so I can copy it and undo it to the point where I have that fill turn back into a stroke.
Not trying to be cool. Love it how Tifa doesn't fall for it. She's like, what? Right? There's moments where other characters don't fall for Cloud's like cool shit.
There we go.
Or Barrett's like, what about you? And Cloud's like, first. What? Soldier, first class. And Barrett's like, I'm talking about your age, you stupid shithead. He's like, oh. Like, I love how so many characters call Cloud out on his BS.
Mechanized units like these were designed to take out giant monsters. Probably a new prototype. If they do decide to deploy it,
So I can cut all those points and then just delete them.
Whoa, Cloud.
That's why I didn't want to do this.
Is that reflecting that? Jesus. Video.
It's just a little bit more time,
Calm down, game.
but this is what's gonna separate.
His crazy ass Mako eyes are reflecting that light. Sick.
And now these are actually gonna have to be pulled or aligned.
This is a video game and you play it. Do you know that, chat?
Where is everybody?
You mean shit. Got supposed to clear it up, but not much my time.
deal with that.
So it's just a little bit more work. It's a little annoying. That's why I didn't want. I was like, I really don't want to do that. So if I take these, cut those.
Fuck. That's just a ceiling, right? That's a ceiling. They're able to make it look amazing.
There we go. Line that down and delete that. Delete that.
I can't. Once again, chat. I'm gonna say this as like art design appreciation. They use something here to break up the monotony of the similar color, right? Where so much of the environment is this blue shit, you know? So much of all the environment is essentially just different colors of blue. It's like Nintendo Mega Man. But what do they do to catch your eye and to focus your eyes on stuff? We're going to use orange. We're going to use orange to disrupt that blue, complement the color, and other complementary colors like yellow to balance that out. So the vents are orange. It's little shit like this that makes every single zone and area of this game so fucking cool looking. Everything looks so goddamn good.
He ain't lying.
And it's all just expertly crafted lighting artists and color theory. But that's like omega basic color theory. But really, I think most of Final Fantasy VII and its like characters and world is like perfect execution of just basic color theory.
Boom. Get all that done. And same thing here.
It takes me back.
Good Jesus. There we go. I don't know how I just did that, but it just made my life easier.
Whose is this? What is this and whose is this? What is going on? That's my face! That's my face! Who is this and what is this? Did I get hosted by somebody? I'm being attacked. I'm being attacked, chat. I'm being
There we
attacked.
go. I believe that's
Is
everything.
that Tiffany? Oh, you raided me? Thanks.
Okay.
That's my face! That's my intellectual property!
Now I wonder if this is even gonna work. I wonder if the strokes maybe along the edges are going to screw this up. You know, it might. I don't know. It's been a while. So now,
Copyright jail.
probably look at these three and be like, what's the difference? Well, this one here is just a clipping. This one has turned everything into a fill.
Not super long. Yeah.
And this is kind of like fill and stroke. Let's just cross our fingers and pray that this
I think I really want
is
to put
good.
this area on teeth, because
So if I have that pattern, I make a shape.
oh, she got luck up, and Tifa's really good with luck up though.
I wonder if there's a space in
I think
there.
instead of prayer, I should
There is. It did screw it up. See this little space right here? That's all because of
Barrett's got the healing
this
spirit.
stroke going along the line there.
Rada's got ass though. I don't know if I need to ass anything.
Yeah, so the only way,
I think I put prayer on.
I mean, there's a way I could fix that, but man, that's a bummer.
Naming skills also fascinating.
Yeah, it's good to have that anyways, so that way I still have all the values there, but yeah, I would still need to turn it into a fill and expand it. But at least at this point, I can adjust the line weight. I guess I could have still did that here, so I kind of did that for no reason. So yeah, I could toss that out,
At this point, it's not really worth it.
and I could toss that out. So yeah, this is our winner, and that's if the size and the scale of the pattern is what we want it to be.
Let's not do that.
Are we blurry? So the reason why I was making this is for some merch that I want to make, and yeah, I won't know if this is a scale that I want it to be until I try to apply it to the actual merch print template, at which point I may have to scale this pattern up or down, and the lines, the stroke weight is going to scale with it,
In a stream.
and then I'll probably, if I scale it down, I might have to bump it up, or if I have to scale it up, most likely I'll have to bump that line weight back down. Which is why you want to maintain and not lose the stroke value that's within this one as well as this one, and that's why this one isn't like the end all be all. But for this video and for this practice and study, yeah. So I have my shape, apply that stroke or that fill to it, boom. You see that adjustment? This was the old pattern that I just had that had that little minute space in there from that stroke weight just being on the outside of the clipping. It was just enough to
Shit was clean.
you know, throw an outline around this entire pattern. You could see it cutting through here as well as here. But yeah, when I apply the one that's just a fill, all of that closes out. So you see,
I gotta summon.
no,
Summons appearing is almost like Final Fantasy 15-ish, it feels, where they just happen at times.
no blur or no pixelation like the original here. See, here's the original. You see all the pixels in there. Everything that I just did was just to do that, make it clean.
Yeah, I'm looking
So what was that, like an hour?
I'm padding it out. I'm gonna play through the whole game first and then get to them in in like chapter 17 and then do it?
Yeah, a little over an hour to do it all. Either way, I got everything I needed for this pattern. I'm good with it. I'm happy with it. I know this pattern a little bit now that I've like created it and things like that, and super dope.
I'm sick of all of this.
So, yeah, man, that's gonna be the end of this video. It's like I said, man, you know, another short, sweet one. I don't have time to do the long stream today, so this is what it was. Hopefully, the break away from just doing traditional drawings, sketches, and you know all the stuff that I've been doing lately. You know, hopefully some digital stuff kind of breaks up the minutia monotony of watching my stuff. And yeah, man, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm G Mr. Drew. It's at G Mr. Drew on all social media. You can follow, like, and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, you are watching a backlogged video. If you want to catch these things live, I'm on Twitch. G Mr. Drew on Twitch. If you don't want a Twitch account because you just have so many social media accounts, I'm also on Patreon. You can watch these things on Patreon. For most of my videos, you will have to be a patron to watch them. So those tiers start at $1 a month just for regular support. But if you want like commissions or anything like that from me, I do those for, you know, starting at $3 going on up. You can check out all the tiers. All the options are super flexible, things like that. And as you can see, I do traditional and digital media. So kind of sky's the limit when you're dealing with me. And yeah, man, I would love to do a portrait of your favorite character, or if you have an original character you just want to see me do a rendition of. You know, that's all good. Other than that, man, G Mr. Drew on all social media. You know, I'm posting twice a day on Instagram, and I kind of share things on Twitter. I'm kind of weak on Twitter, to be honest, but you know, I would appreciate the the follow or whatever. And yeah, man, check out my website, gmrdrew.art. Most of the stuff that I've ever worked on is on there. You can contact me through there. You see everything that I've ever done through their portfolio, sketchbooks, all that stuff. And yeah, that's gonna be it, man. I want to thank you if you made it to, you know, this far into the video. Thank you for watching the Andrew Glowczewski Experience, episode 203. Love y'all. Peace.